Well, it's official. Bill Belichick is the head coach of the University of North Carolina Tar Heels football team. It's something I never in a million years thought I'd see. Coach anywhere close to his caliber. Six-time Super Bowl champion head coach of the New England Patriots. Two-time Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator for the New York Giants in the 1980s. Their legendary defense in an era and a decade full of legendary defenses. I mean, you look at the defenses that he had to compete against, and he got two Super Bowl championships in that era. That's a big deal. And you look at some of the legendary offenses he had to go against. I mean, he had Joe Montana, the 49ers number, which is about the only person who did. So you got to give him a lot of credit as a football genius, truly a football genius. So the question is this going to work? Now, obviously, the pro game and the college game are quite different. And Bill Belichick has zero experience coaching on any level in college. Now, this, to me, would have been a much bigger concern and a much bigger something to be worried about pre-NIL and pre-transfer portal. Now that the players are basically getting paid, now that it's basically a professional league, the NCAA is basically a professional league, with no salary cap and no restrictions hardly on the transferring that can be done. Like I said, it's just a completely different era. You know, the people who've had the most success are getting out. You know, Nick Saban just came out and said it. And he said, I don't want to coach under these new rules. You know, they've taken the amateur out of it. And to me, and again, I'll say it again, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing the direction that college is going in. But the fact is, we are there, whether we like it or not. And I think somebody like Bill Belichick will be built well for it. I know there's a lot of concerns there because even with all that, you know, how's he going to relate to 18 and 19-year-olds? Well, my understanding is he didn't relate very well to, 30-year-olds way back in the early 2000s. To me, my understanding is he's never been all that relatable, but at the end of the day, you can't argue with success, and people understand that being around him, with him as their coach, they are going to be set up for success. If you're a kid and you understand, I would hope you at least understand that the ultimate goal is to make it to the NFL and get a big contract. And a good way to do that, have Bill Belichick, the winningest championship coach of the Super Bowl era with 6 Super Bowl championships, as your coach. And he came prepared. He walked in with like a 400-page, I hate to say manifesto in the wake of some of the things that have been happening, like with the healthcare CEO. But I mean, basically just saying, here's what I see and here's what I want to do. Here's what I think can be done. And he gave it to the folks at Chapel Hill and basically laid out how he sees it should go. And to me, that shows preparation. That shows that he understands, that he can't just walk in. I mean, he could just walk in and say, "Hey, I'm Bill Belichick," but he's not doing that. He's saying, here's what I want to do. Here's what I think needs to be done. Here's my plan. You need a plan. No matter what you do in life, and especially if you're going to be the head coach of a football program, whether it's professional or college or even high school, you have to have a plan. You have to have an identity. And it looks like he's already got that. So now, whether it's going to be successful or not, we'll have to see. I'm definitely going to be. I mean, I'm going to watch it anyways because it's my Tar Heels. See, it's my Tar Heels, and so I'm definitely going to be watching. But it's also going to be interesting just from a human level, because like I said in the first video where I talked about when it was being rumored, I got to be honest, I didn't think it was actually going to happen. I thought he was kind of use it for leverage for something else, for a pro job. Like, look, these college teams are ready to give me the world. Jacksonville, what are you going to give me? New York Giants, hey, I've been part of half your Super Bowl wins as the defensive coordinator. You want to go back to relevance? Either hire me or I'm going to go over here where they're giving me everything. So you guys can give me everything. But he's stuck to his guns. He's going to North Carolina. He's bringing his son with him. The understanding is that he's going to try to basically set this up so his son can take over the program, which I know in the past has not been a great thing. But Bill Belichick's different. So I'm not too worried about that. Plus, that's down the road. I want to see what Bill Belichick can do. And if he doesn't do any good, then guess what? They're going to run him and his son off, so he has even more incentive to do well, and not and to care. I mean, he's always going to care, but I mean to really, really care, because this has family implications. So now what his son does, like I said, well, that's down the road. We'll worry about that then. But I mentioned it in my last video where I talked about a lot of this. Whether or not he would be able to have success there, and like I said, still remains to be seen. Is he going to be able to get some players over? Are they going to say, hey, that's Bill Belichick, he's won all these championships? I don't know. We'll have to, like I said, see that, but I'm interested. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'd be looking forward to it either way. I mean, good Lord, we had Larry Fedora, who's a pretty pathetic head coach, and I was looking forward to him, even when I knew he wasn't worth a darn, because it's my team. But like I said, to me, it's interesting on a human level, because we've never seen a coach have that level of have a huge level of success at the professional level, then go back to the college level. Like other than Bill Walsh, like I talked about in the first video about that. Bill Walsh won 3 Super Bowls with the 49ers and Joe Montana. Then he went back to Stanford a few years later. He retired, was out of football for a little bit. I think he did some analyst work, and then went back to Stanford. Had a good first year and 2 pretty bad second and third years. So that's the only one we really have. We've had people go, coach professionally and not have success, and then go back to college and have success. Like Pete Carroll, for example. He didn't really have a ton of success in the pros. He went to college, went to USC, where he was able to pay his players a lot more than they were making than the NFL players were making, and won a bunch of championships. And then he parlayed that into the Seattle job, which he's just done an incredible job at. Nick Saban, he won a championship at LSU, decided to try his hand at Miami. So he's probably the second closest thing, because he had a championship. But even then, that was a championship on the college level, so that doesn't really even apply either. He had, I think, a year or two with Miami. It was a bad Miami team, and he didn't change their fortunes in any way, shape, or form, and had to settle for going to Alabama and winning 6 college championships, national championships, and making a lot more national championship games. So over a pretty short period of time, if you think about it. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited to watch it. I think he can do something. I think we can at least maybe win our first ACC championship since 1980. First one of my lifetime. That was 4 years before I was born. So maybe we can be the ACC football champions. We're used to being ACC basketball champions. And that's another thing people are, I guess when it comes to skepticism, why is he doing this at a basketball school? Why not? It kind of takes a lot of the pressure off. Again, I compare it to David Cutcliffe when he went over to Duke. Like, he went over there, and gosh, you win 6 or 7 games a year at Duke, you're a made man. That's all they care about. So, the the expectations are going to be a little bit lower, and I think, quite honestly, he's setting up a nice job for his son. If he can do a good job, and his son can prove he's worth it, to be the coach of the North Carolina football team. Because again, like I said, the expectations aren't going to be quite there, but it's a very nice university. It's a beautiful university, and it's a nice. Of course, I think it's a nice place to live. It's North Carolina, but it's a pretty good area. Obviously you want to stay away from Raleigh and all that, and Durham, but that's like anywhere. There's places you want to stay away from, but I think he's setting them up for a nice thing, and I think he's gonna. I think we're gonna have some success. I really do. That clip may very well come back to bite me very badly, but hey, if it does, it does. At least we tried. So, North Carolina, it's a no-brainer to try to get Bill Belichick. Who else are we going to get that's going to bring any level of interest the way that does? And quite honestly, I'm just going to be honest with you. If Deion Sanders can do a pretty good job as a college coach of an unheralded program, an unheralded football program, Bill Belichick definitely can. Because Deion, for all his talent, he was never a leader. He'll even tell you he was never a leader. He was never a locker room leader. He was never somebody that people really looked to. Quite honestly, he was, if they're being honest, when during his time with the Dallas Cowboys, they looked at him as a negative in the locker room. Um, Looked at him as somebody who didn't have that kind of like work ethic just because he had so much talent as far work ethic as far as like watching film. He worked on his body a lot. He had freakish athletic ability, and was able to say, "Look, I'm just going to go out there and cover my guy and shut him down and do it." So, if he can do it, Bill Belichick can definitely do it. Can do it. Now, like I said, if he takes the wrong attitude or tries to, reinvent the wheel, but like I said, this with this new era of NIL and the transfer portal, and the NCAA, I mean, the wheel is still in the process of being invented. So I mean, he can go in there and say, "All right, we're going to do this, this, and this," and he can create, something and be the forefather of it. Um, like I said, he knows how to coach. He knows how to coach successfully, and I know there's going to be people who say, "Well, yeah, he knows the secret to success. Have Tom Brady as your quarterback," and I mean that's true to an extent for sure. Like Bill Walsh, he knew the secret to success when he went to Stanford. Have Joe Montana as your quarterback. Joe Montana was out of college eligibility by then, by about 2 decades, just like Tom Brady is by about 3 decades now. But uh, I think he's prepared for this. Like I said, 400 pages. I think he's done his research, and I said 400 pages. I don't think he was looking for a pro job. I think he wanted out of the pros. I think now he wants to do this and set up something nice for his son to be able to do. So the more success he can have, the better. The more say he can have, and the more power his son will have coming in. So, not really a fan of nepotism, except when it helps my teams. Then suddenly my principles go out the window. So, bye bye principles. So that's my take on that. Looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm always gonna pull for them no matter what, no matter who they put at head coach, and hopefully we can turn them around. It's been a kind of even by our standards, a pretty disappointing era. We keep having these moments where it looks like we're going to break through and return to our form of the late '70s and early '80s, and just disappoint like crazy. Give up 70 to James Madison, stuff like that. But I think there should be something to this. I really do. I just have this gut feeling this is gonna work. I really do. Like I said, this video may come back to haunt me. I might watch this video back in 2 years and say, "Oh my God, what were you thinking?" Ugh. But I don't know. It might be a big bag of nothing. It might be complete mediocrity, just like we had. Um, but I said, either way, at North Carolina, the real Carolina. Yeah, I live in South Carolina now, but I live in Clemson country. Their main rival is South Carolina, so I take pride up here saying, we are the real Carolina, the Tar Heels. When it comes to the two colleges that go by Carolina, it's definitely the Tar Heels are the real Carolina. And but yeah, it's looking forward to it. I have a good feeling, and maybe it's just gas. Who knows? But we'll see. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later.